everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for another edition of Pear Collections Tips and Tricks. My name is Angie, and today I am so excited to introduce you one of our fantastic partners that we love working with, and that is the Corporate Escapists CEO and founder of their magazine, Christine. How are you today, Christine?
I'm wonderful. I'm excited to be here, beautiful. So thank you so much for having me.
Oh, thank you so much for joining us. I know it's always a little bit scary to go on and chat with anyone about, loving your curves and having self-confidence and getting into the nitty-gritty of ourselves. So thank you so much for joining me today. I'm
My pleasure.
really excited. It's going to be great. But before we get into the nitty-gritty of the series that we're about to do, I thought it would be really wonderful to officially introduce the Corporate Escapists Magazine and your mission behind doing it to our community. I know we have just been featured in one of your editions that have just come out, and super thrilled, absolutely love it. So some people know a little bit about you, but I would really love to really just lay it all out there about who you are and why we love working with you and why we look up to you so much. So I thought our first question we could go through today is just to have us tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're all about, really.
Yeah, where do I start? So I start at the beginning. Let's start at the beginning. So I am a mum, I am a daughter, I have a partner, just the normal things. But what happened was 6 years ago, I had what I call the not so gracious exit from the corporate world. So here I was, corporate queen, earning big bucks, climbing that corporate ladder, and it just all fell apart. So I got diagnosed with 2 life-changing illnesses. And during that time, I also then realized that I didn't actually know who I was because I had to stop work. I left a very toxic and unfixable marriage, had to file for bankruptcy, and I ended up sleeping on my parents' couch. So if you can imagine someone who's just about to turn 40 and all of this was happening, it's, as I said, not so gracious. But it was one of the best things that ever happened to me because it actually allowed me to find out who I was without my corporate identity. So for having to work, for 20 odd years in the corporate world, I only knew that. I only knew Christine and my corporate title. I didn't know who I was without that. And I was in a very fortunate place, being close to my family and having their support. I really found out who I was. And I started asking all of these questions. What did I want to do? And it was the first time in my life where I thought, I don't know, because I've always done sort of what society told me to do. Society tells you that you go to school, you either go to uni or you get a good job. And then when you're retired, that's when you have fun. And I was sort of like going, well, hang on, with everything that's happened, I don't want to wait because I had gone through so much. I thought, no, this is my time. And I was very fortunate. I started sharing my personal story and people just started going, this was me. This is what happened. And I found my passion. I found all of that. And I thought, this is my tribe. This is the people that, understand everything that's happened. And I got the courage up and I thought, can I interview you? Because first of all, I wanted to find out more for myself and learn from other people. And that literally started the Corporate Escapists. It started by me doing an interview series, which is now our web TV show. I then turned that into a podcast. So we have a weekly TV show and podcast. And then last year, I knew the power of stories and I wanted it to reach even in a wider audience. And I was very fortunate in one of my corporate roles was doing learning development. And I know that people learn in multiple different ways. So they either like to watch, they like to read, or they like to listen. So I thought, okay, what do I need to do? I did a beautiful meditation. I saw magazine covers and I thought, oh, okay, am I going to be on the cover? No. And it came to me that I had to start a magazine so I could share the stories really authentically so that these beautiful people who have been brave enough to share about their journey and also share their passion with other people, but do it in an authentic way so that they can then attract their ideal clients as well and get to take them on a beautiful journey, opposed to just like the sales and marketing that we sort of see in ads. This is connecting with them in a really authentic way. So that's sort of, how it started and now where we're at. And it's been a beautiful, beautiful journey. And I now get to also coach amazing people and, help them, find out what their passion is and also help businesses launch. And I love it. I'm just like, I get excited every single day. I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait who I'm going to talk to today, who I'm going to get to meet. And so it's just been a beautiful, beautiful journey out of something that some people look at going, oh my goodness, I can't believe that. And I'm like going, it's the best thing that ever happened to me.
I love your story. I definitely kind of been along the same line as you, but not quite as dramatic. I was working for different business owners over the years, and although I really loved working with the businesses, it just wasn't quite right. There was always a point where I just was like, I can't do this anymore. This isn't what I want to be doing. It's not speaking to me. And this year was the first year that I went, nope, okay, I'm going to be 100% just me. And I actually loved having that moment where I went, who am I? What do I want to do in general? Like, what is my goal in life? What kind of life do I want to live? I found it really inspiring to actually be at that moment, which is actually really terrifying when you're like, who am I? What do I want to do? But it's, once you get through it, it is just, you just look at things differently. And I don't know about you, but I started with my journey. I started first. I knew that my self-confidence was a real issue in all aspects of my life. And I knew that if anything was going to change, I needed to work on myself, my self-confidence, my self-worth, because it was affecting my career. And I really value my career. And as I started to work on it, I started to realize more and more how negatively I spoke about and to myself. And it has such a big effect on us. And I think once you get to that point where you just don't know who you are, it's one of the main basics that helps you climb back up is saying that, no, I can do this. I am worth it. I do have value. Do you agree?
Like the word value, knowing my values was a game changer for me, because if we work for somebody else, and especially, people who have worked in corporate, and I know even in fast food and that, they give you your employment pack and here is the mission statement, here's the vision statement, here are our company values. But when do we ever do that for ourselves? And we don't do it. So one of the key things I did was I started out working out what my ideal day was, like what's the day I want to live on repeat where I'm going to be excited, but then also going, well, what are my values? Like, what do I stand for? There's a really amazing quote, and I don't know who it's by, but they said, if you don't stand for anything, you're going to fall for everything. So your values are your pillars. They're like, set your boundaries, work out what you want and who you are. And that was the big game changer for me.
Yeah, I agree. I love doing value exercises and picking your top ones and explaining what they mean. And it's just something that I know when I created Pear Collections. I know I've told you this story, but for anyone new in the community, I created Pear Collections because I had just willy-nilly quit my job that I'd had for 5 years with nothing. I hadn't even looking for something else. I knew I wanted to up level and really start valuing my own work. So I was in the midst of basically going for roles that were about 20K more than what I was, like 30K more than I was already making annually. And I was like, I want my power suit. I want to be able to walk in and have that power suit. And I went shopping with my partner because shopping for me has never gone well. And out of 20 pairs of black pants, none of them fit. I settled for one that kind of would do it, but none of them fit, none of them worked. And I cracked it. I broke down in the fitting room and I started to really be extremely negative about myself. And the self-hatred came up and the worthlessness because of my body came up. And my partner, being my partner, loving my body, loving me, he was like, well, you're a fashion designer and business developer, why don't you just fix the problem? And, looking at it, well, after he said that, I was like, well, yeah, that makes a lot of sense when you say it like that. But it takes a while to be able to have that confidence to do it. And it takes a while to value yourself enough to look at, for us, for anyone watching this, looking at those pair of clothes and being like, it's those pants problem that I don't fit them. It's not me. The pants was not made for me. It's not that I am the issue. And I think for a lot of us, male or female, it doesn't matter. It's an ongoing issue, is that we always think, whether it's clothing, whether it's business, whether it's anything, that it's always us is the problem. So it's
so true.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I love when we first spoke, we actually met at really randomly. I wasn't even there thinking about Pear Collections at all. But when we first met, I was just drawn to the concept of the corporate escapists and really loved your energy that you basically gave out, and the passion that you had for it, for sharing all these business owners' stories, and, you know, digging a little bit deeper than just like, yeah, I have a magazine, we promote people. There you go. That's what I do.
Yeah. I think the big thing is, like, you know what it's like in business is that, you know, you can have transactions and they can just be once off. But for me, like, I'm a people person and I want to create more than that. I want to create a beautiful community. I want to help and support other people, and we can all uplift, because we all have moments when we don't feel our best. We all have these moments when just life events happen. So how wonderful is it to have a community of people who can rally behind you and really support it? And they could even be people who you don't even know, and then they see it and they're like going, I want to work with this person. I want to get to know them even more. And that's the beautiful connection of it. And I think we lose that a lot in business as well, because we think it's just about the transaction. But building those relationships and really, you know, doing it on a personal level, that's when the magic really happens.
I definitely agree. And I know that's what connected me with you. I think it was one of our early emails that I actually even said that I wasn't looking to get featured again or anything else this year, but I was so blown away by your proposal, by your sense of community, that I had to get involved with you and with the Corporate Escapists Magazine, and that it was just seemed like a very natural connection between the two of us, because we're both so community driven. We're both so focused on supporting our community in any way that we can. I don't know about you, but that was what really drew me to working with you.
Absolutely. And I really love the fact that, like, we have these light bulb moments. So, and sometimes it takes other people to show us those light bulb moments, but, you know, it takes a lot of courage. And I think you really need to commend yourself on that, because it takes courage, not only by starting a business, and there's a lot of people who just start, but there's a lot of people who don't follow through. And you've done that. Like, you've followed through, you've actually committed and shown up, and you own it and embrace it. And I just love and adore people like yourself who do that, because I know the courage it takes to put yourself out there. And there's a lot of people out there who still hide behind, you know, maybe the logo or anything like that. Whereas, yes, you know, it's Pear Collections, but it's you, and you're integrated in it. And I think that that's really such a beautiful thing, because it's your story that made the business.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was one of those things very early on. You know, my mom is a beautiful plus size pear. I grew up with her feelings about herself regarding her body shape. I grew up just wearing black and jeans and trying to hide. I would ignore mirrors, and all my friends would want to go shopping, and I just was like, always, no, I don't want to go shopping, don't want to go shopping, don't want to go do those girl trips. And it was something that was really ingrained in me. And when it finally hit me that I could fix it for other people, I knew that, you know, I'm not the stereotypical plus size woman, not plus size, pear-shaped woman. You know, people don't look at me and go, oh, she's pear. But I'm actually extremely pear. I have like 4 different size ranges in between both of my upper and topper body. But it's one of those things that I knew if someone was going to design and create garments for pear-shaped women, they would have to be real. Because I personally wouldn't buy anything from someone who's saying they're pear without having that connection, because it's so personal. You know, when you're really talking about valuing yourself and valuing your body, it's a very personal thing. And I think if I didn't include myself in it, it wouldn't have the values that I have. It wouldn't have that depth of a business. Yeah, and that's very similar to what you do with the Corporate Escapists. You know, you show up, you're there, you're very present, you're extremely supportive as well, which I just love, which is great. But, you know, it's really inspiring as well. I think a lot of small businesses, whether you're service-based or product-based, it doesn't really matter, sometimes can get lost in the noise. So it was so refreshing to be able to speak with you and work with you on just trying to break out of the noise and just connect with other humans on a human level.
Yes. Yeah. And I mean, it's really, you know, I know with everything that we've had going on in the world and that, but, you know, there are ways that we can still do that. And I think the more we start to show up and start being those leaders, and I see you as well as being a leader in your field, but, you know, showing other people how it can be done, that it can be authentic, it can be heart-centered, it can be real, but you can also have a real business too.
Yeah. Love it. Love it. Thank you so much for joining us today and
My
starting off
pleasure.
the series by just chatting a little bit about who you are. Over the next couple episodes, we are going to get much more in depth with the concept of self-love and building a business around it and building yourself around it. So thank you for going through and helping everyone ease in to the Corporate Escapists and what you're all about. What I will be doing, everyone, for who is watching, we are going to have all of the links necessary to learn so much more about the Corporate Escapists and to also download the edition that Pear Collections has been featured in. It is beautiful. I think I have read through it about 8 times now. It's pretty crazy. So it's wonderful. And I loved your intro into this edition and really going through all of the features that were in this edition. I think really spoke well to each other. Everyone was really helpful, all kind of on the same page, and it was really lovely. So I'll definitely include that link as well as all of your social links, your website. Everyone always go in and click on our featured guest links so that you can learn more about them. We always feature guests that we ourselves find inspiring. So I'm sure as you watch these episodes, you'll find Christine just as inspiring. So thank you again for joining us. It was so great. Oh, love it.
Thank you for having me. I just love spending time with you. So thank you.
Same. And as always, everyone, love your curves.